Have you ever received an invitation that made your blood run cold? Picture this. Our protagonist is an everyday individual, just like you or me, living a life of routine simplicity. But one stormy night, the mundane was shattered by an unexpected occurrence. In the midst of a raging tempest, a mysterious letter arrived, an invitation. But this was no ordinary invitation. There was no cheerful celebration or joyous gathering at the end of this call. Instead, it was an invitation to a secluded mansion, far from the comfort of the known. The location was obscure, a place unheard of, hidden away from the hustle and bustle of the world. The envelope bore no return address, no hint of the sender. The handwriting was unfamiliar, nearly illegible, as if the person penning it was in a hurry or perhaps even distressed. The invitation itself was cryptic, a simple message. Your presence is requested at the stroke of midnight. No reasons given, no explanations offered. Our protagonist was left baffled and unnerved. The storm outside seemed to echo the turmoil within, the thunder mirroring the pounding of their heart. The lightning flashed, casting eerie shadows, almost as if the world outside was warning them about the darkness that the invitation held. Yet there was something enticing about the mystery, an allure in the unknown. Despite the unsettling circumstances and the chill that ran down their spine, there was a pull, a curiosity that gnawed at them, an itch that needed to be scratched. And so, against their better judgment, they found themselves drawn into the enigma. The fear, while palpable, was overshadowed by the yearning to uncover the truth behind this eerie invitation. Despite the foreboding feeling, curiosity overcame fear, leading our protagonist to accept this chilling invitation. Imagine stepping foot into a mansion that seemed to swallow the light around it. Picture our protagonist, a mere silhouette against the moonlit landscape, as they approach this formidable structure. The mansion towers above, its Gothic spires reaching out like skeletal fingers, scraping the underbelly of the cloud-laden sky. As they draw closer, the silence around the mansion grows denser, almost palpable. The usual nocturnal symphony of crickets and nightbirds is curiously absent, replaced by an eerie stillness that sends chills down the spine. The only sound that punctures this silence is the crunch of gravel underfoot, a harsh reminder of the protagonist's intrusion into this desolate domain. The mansion itself is an imposing sight, its stony exterior as cold and unwelcoming as a tombstone. The windows, dark and lifeless, seem like vacant eye sockets staring into the abyss. The once grand entrance now stands weather-beaten and uncared for, its paint peeling off like decaying skin, revealing the rot underneath. As they step inside, the atmosphere thickens. The air is heavy with a musty, stale smell that clings to the back of the throat. The protagonist can feel a cold, chilling draft that seems to seep into their bones, making them shiver involuntarily. It's as if the mansion itself is alive, its breath icy and uninviting. And then there are the noises, strange, unexplainable sounds that echo through the hollow halls, the faint rustling like whispers in the dark, the soft, distant thud, as if something heavy is being dragged across the floor upstairs. Each sound amplifies the protagonist's fear, causing their heart to pound against their chest like a frantic drum. As they venture further, the feeling of unease intensifies. Every creak of the wooden floorboards, every gust of wind howling through the broken window panes, every shadow that flits across the wall fuels their growing dread. As the door closed behind the protagonist, a sense of dread filled the air, a feeling that something was terribly wrong. What is more terrifying than the unseen? Indeed, the unseen has a way of playing tricks on the mind, of tapping into our deepest fears and insecurities. Our protagonist found this out in the most bone-chilling way possible as they ventured deeper into the desolate mansion. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. A whisper here, a murmur there, echoing through the mansion's empty hallways. The whispers were impossible to ignore. They seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. They were unintelligible, yet eerily familiar, as if a choir of ghosts were trying to communicate a message from the other side. Then there were the objects that moved on their own, a vase that seemed to shift slightly when no one was looking, a picture frame that tilted on its own accord, a chandelier that swayed gently in a room with no wind. Each inexplicable movement added another layer to the growing sense of dread that was slowly but surely enveloping our protagonist. As they navigated through the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, the terror escalated. The whispers grew louder, The objects moved more frequently, and the sense of being watched became almost unbearable. The unseen was making its presence known, asserting its dominance over the mansion and its lone intruder. The protagonist was not alone. They could feel it in their bones. An unseen presence was there with them, lurking in the shadows, watching their every move. It was an entity that seemed to feed off their fear, growing stronger and more menacing with each passing moment. The terror was no longer confined to the unseen. It was palpable, almost tangible. It hung in the air like a thick fog, seeping into every corner of the mansion and every fiber of their being. It was relentless, unyielding, a constant reminder of the unseen entity that was sharing the mansion with them. With every passing moment, the unseen presence grew stronger, pushing the protagonist towards a chilling discovery. What would you do if you discovered a truth too terrifying to comprehend? Imagine, if you will, our protagonist, heart pounding, palms slick with sweat as they push open the door to a room that should not exist. A room hidden away, concealed behind deceptive walls, and shrouded in the mansion's macabre silence. The air within this secret chamber is heavy, saturated with the stench of decay and the bitter tang of fear. Here in this forgotten room is a chilling tableau of past horrors. Chains rusted with age are bolted to the stone walls, their links whispering tales of torment. A solitary chair sits ominously in the center, its worn leather and timber frame retelling a narrative of unspeakable acts. Evidence of past atrocities lay strewn about, tattered remnants of clothing, brittle bones, and faded photographs of terrified faces. Each piece of the grim puzzle paints a picture that sends shivers down the spine, a tale of torment and despair that echoes through the ages. As our protagonist pieces together the horrifying story, the mansion itself seems to react. The air grows colder, the shadows deeper. Whispers of the past become audible, cries of despair and pleas for mercy that reverberate off the stone walls. The mansion is not just a building, it is a tomb, a prison for the souls of those who suffered within its walls. The realization strikes like a bolt of lightning. The mansion is haunted. Not by a single specter, but by a legion of vengeful spirits, bound to this place by the atrocities committed upon them. The mansion is their purgatory, their hell on earth, and they are trapped, screaming for release, for justice, for vengeance. Our protagonist is not alone. They are watched, followed, haunted by the victims of the mansion's dark past. The terror that was once invisible has taken on a horrifying form, a form that our protagonist can now see, hear, and feel. The haunting truth was out, but escaping the mansion was another ordeal. The chilling discovery had been made, and now the real nightmare would begin. Running from an unseen terror is a fear no one should experience. A heart-pounding, adrenaline-pumping, terror-inducing ordeal that no one should ever have to face. Yet, our protagonist found themselves in the midst of such a nightmare, trapped within the spectral grasp of the haunted mansion. The mansion that once stood as a beacon of opulence now appeared as a twisted labyrinth of fear. The protagonist, driven by a primal instinct to survive, navigated through the ominous corridors and spiraling staircases. Every creak of the ancient floorboards, every whisper of the cold wind, seemed to echo the spectral pursuit of the unseen spirits. The mansion seemed to come alive, each room more terrifying than the last. The unseen terror was relentless in its pursuit, its presence felt through the icy chill and the unsettling whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the mansion. The protagonist, fueled by sheer terror, managed to stay one step ahead, their heart pounding in sync with the ominous thumping that echoed through the mansion. The protagonist's final escape was nothing short of miraculous. As they stumbled upon the exit, the mansion seemed to shudder in protest, the unseen terror unleashing a final surge of spectral energy. With a final burst of courage, the protagonist pushed through the door, leaving the haunted mansion and its spectral inhabitants behind. Yet, the escape was not the end. The protagonist, though physically free from the haunted mansion, was forever marked by the experience. The memory of the unseen terror, the spectral pursuit, the chilling whispers, and the icy touch of fear lingered long after the escape. The trauma of the experience was etched deep into their psyche, a chilling reminder of the unseen horrors that exist in this world. Our protagonist escaped, but the memory of that horrific night will forever linger, a chilling reminder of the unseen horrors that exist in this world. Remember, the next time you receive an invitation, think twice before accepting.